back together Saturday. Jets fans, welcome in to Training Camp Live presented by Honda. We are excited here at One Jets Drive. We got fans in the building. It's going to be electric atmosphere here at practice today. And not to mention, we are joined by a very special guest. Damian Woody is on set with us today. D. Wood, thanks so much for joining us.
No, thank you guys for having me. It is great to be back out here and watching this new regime take the team through the paces.
What is your kind of initial, I know practice hasn't really gotten underway yet, but your initial vibe check of practice and Aaron Glenn's first season as a head coach and first training camp?
Culture. The biggest thing is just watching Aaron Glenn, put a stamp on this team. This organization. We know that, he's a guy that's been around culture. He's a culture builder. Accountability. Those are the two words that I look for when I'm watching this team and watching how they're going to progress. So I'm really looking forward to that.
We're watching him right now. You just mentioned it. Accountability, culture. Also, he wants his team to play a brand of football that is marked by physicality. Mm-hmm. That's right up your alley.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've always preached. We talk about the glamour positions all the time in the media, the quarterbacks, the wide receiver, but the game of football is won in the trenches. And so when I come out here, I'm watching the offensive line, I'm watching that defensive line, because that will carry you wherever you want to go.
D. Wood, you got to watch AG, because Caroline and I have been doing this early this week, and he is constant motion. He jumps around. I'd like to see his step counter that in a day, because he goes from position group to position group, where a lot of guys, I think, first-year head coach, they might be favoring defensive side of the ball because I was just a coordinator over there. He's seeing this whole thing from a 30,000-foot level.
Yeah, and D-Wood, you mentioned the trenches specifically. Let's waste no time kind of getting into your wheelhouse there. When is the last time, both of you, that you remember 5 healthy offensive linemen heading into training camp and young offensive linemen?
Whoa.
Stumped him there.
That beats me. It's been quite some time, but again, we know that the Jets have invested a lot of capital, whether it be draft capital or free agency, and really getting this unit up to par. And I'm so excited for this unit, because I think they could be the engine behind this whole team. When those 5 guys, they're able to play together, and I think that's the biggest thing, having that cohesiveness, that chemistry, that physicality. Everything else will follow suit from that point.
Well, the last great line the Jets had, Damian Woody was a part of that. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you, what's your feeling like when you come back here on a day like this and you see the fans out here and just the vibe?
I always said, there's some things, and I've been retired now since 2011, there's some things that'll never leave you. It's something about walking on the grass, smelling the grass, the humidity in the air, having the fans out here excited, pumped up, and it's just a vibe that will never leave you, because those things are always kind of burnt in the back of your mind. But it is so fun. It's so fun to get to come out here and watch these younger guys establish their legacy. But it all starts, right here in training camp.
Yeah.
What is your kind of expectation, or maybe the thing that excites you most about having these young guys on the line and this time in training camp where everyone's healthy, that you can develop that chemistry that you were saying is so important?
Yeah, listen, I think this Jets team, if we're taking a 30,000-foot view of 2025 and what's their recipe for success, to me, I think the strength is the offensive line. Yep. It's just strength. Again, you've added draft capital there. You've brought in a guy like John Simpson, who had a really good first year with the Jets organization. You look at the quarterback in Justin Fields, the talents that he brings at the quarterback position, his athletic ability. You got a 3-headed monster in the backfield led by Breece Hall. You combine all of that, the things that you can do from a creative standpoint in the run game will give opposing defenses fits. So, that's the thing that I'm really excited about watching the Jets in 2025.
There's Justin Fields out there on the practice field warming up with his teammates. We'll have to see if he participates in team drills. But in the meantime, yesterday, Tyrod Taylor, obviously at the controls, but staying with that offensive line. this situation like for Armand Mambu? Just a couple practices here into his first training camp, facing a guy like Will McDonald every day.
Yeah, well, listen, Will McDonald is one of the better pass rushers that we have in the National Football League. And so, you've heard the cliche, iron sharpens iron. Going up against that guy every day, it's only going to make you better. And I think as a young guy, and I've been through it before, I'm a former first-round pick, sometimes initially you get overwhelmed by the speed of the game. But as you continue to take those reps in practice, especially the caliber of player of Will McDonald, things starts to slow down a little bit. Now, I think the next step is going to be when the pads come on. Because make no mistake about it, right now you're what we call underwear. Like you're in shorts and helmet. But when the pads come on, now I think as an offensive lineman, you can take it to a whole different level.
Yeah.
When you have a solid offensive line and you are in a offensive scheme under a first-year head coach, does that kind of help not mask some of those hiccups and bumps in the road that you're still kind of working out in a first-year head coach, but does it kind of help give a little bit of grace for the offense in general?
Absolutely. Listen, when I was here, we had a situation where we had a rookie quarterback in Mark Sanchez.
That's right.
But we were an established veteran offensive line, and what better way at that point in time to helping a rookie quarterback than having a veteran offensive line, one of the best rushing attacks in the National Football League, and so that helped him ingratiate himself or help with the transition into the National Football League. Same thing can be said here. If you having a proven offensive line, offensive line that can establish their physicality across the line of scrimmage, it'll help every facet of the offense.
Yeah.
What do you make of the competition at the center position? You got Joe Tippmann, and the Jets also signed Josh Myers, of course, in free agency. He started the last 4 years with the Packers.
I think it's great. And I think it goes along with what Aaron Glenn has been talking about, competition.
Yeah.
Okay, competition ultimately raised the bar. And so for a young guy like Joe Tippmann being in that competition, whoever comes out of it has only become better because of that competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one really quickly, I just want to get to the other side of the ball. You were talking a little bit about the D-line and how important that is. And you know what? You were really circling who's going to be next to Quinnen Williams.
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of Jets fans maybe don't know a lot of the guys that the Jets signed in free agency for the defensive line. So are you looking at that position specifically or across the entire D-line?
I am looking at that, position specifically because I think it's really important. And in this day and age, you can scheme guys. You can scheme a guy like Quinnen Williams, who's one of the best defensive tackles in the National Football League. So I'm watching who's going to emerge as a guy next to him because ultimately, in this league, again, I talk about establishing the line of scrimmage, stopping the run. Okay, I always tell, those guys like Will McDonald, you got to earn the right to rush the pass.
Yeah.
You got to stop the run. So who's going to emerge next to Quinnen Williams, and ultimately this defensive line, are they able to stop the run?
I know Jermaine Johnson chomping at the bit to get back. With that being said, do you like the approach the Jets are taking? You got to keep the long term in mind. You got to keep the regular season in mind. You got to keep his career in mind, and not just rushing back out here on the field.
Yeah, listen, I think they're taking the absolute, best approach with Jermaine Johnson, and sometimes as an organization, you got to save a player from themselves.
Yeah.
I know he talked about he just got cleared, medically cleared, which is another great thing that's momentum builder for the team. But sometimes, you got to think about the long game here. It's not about the next practice. It's about week one. It's about what he's going to do, in November and December. And so, I've been through the Achilles. I had mine done here. So I'm sure the Jets organization is going to do right by Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, he's got an awesome attitude, and he's working with trainers right now as we speak out here on the field. So Jets fans can't wait to see him in action. And I'm really excited about that duo when you're talking about Will McDonald on one side and Jermaine Johnson on the other.
Well, listen, I'm excited as well. Obviously, both of those guys former first-round picks. The thing I like about both of those guys, they're a little bit, they have different styles.
Yes.
Jermaine Johnson is a very physical player, got a tone setter, guy who will set the edge in the run game, can provide that power as far as rushing the passer. And then we know a guy like Will McDonald, who's a freakish athlete, real bendy guy. I saw out here early, he's put on weight, which is a great thing. We talk about setting the edge in the run game. So when you have that combination, and then you have Quinnen Williams in the middle, Now you're starting to cook them defensive line.
Exactly. D-Wood, you're getting us excited. We could talk to you all day, but we're going to let you go watch practice now. Thank you so much for joining us. And Jets fans, make sure you're gearing up for the 2025 season with the New York Jets and Ticketmaster for a limited time when you purchase season tickets. You'll also receive a free Jets jersey to lock in your seats. Call 800-469-5387. Terms and conditions apply. Now, guys, we just got to hear from a Jets alum about the offensive line. Let's take a listen to a current Jets lineman, John Simpson, yesterday when he spoke about the Jets' run game.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I love running the ball, man. That's like my strong suit, I think. So I'm excited for that opportunity to come out here and just, like you said, run the ball. All the other stuff will come, man, and I think if we can run the ball, we're gonna win a lot of games for sure.
We just heard John Simpson loves running the ball. You know who else loved to run the ball? Bilal Powell.
That's right.
Thank you so much for joining the show.
How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, we're excited. Now let's cut to the chase. Let's not waste any time. How are we feeling about the depth on the Jets team with the running backs?
I like them. They're very versatile. I think each guy brings a different dynamic to the game. You can go in the committee.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about overloading one guy. And with the offensive line that I saw on paper, I'm excited about how these guys are going to look this year.
How dramatic of a difference is it going to be as far as play style for the Jets? Because last year, last in the National Football League in rush attempts, and you know they're emphasizing controlling the line of scrimmage and getting after teams on the ground.
I think you want to run the ball, and I think Coach Glenn is going to try to establish that. Why not? You got two guys in the backfield that can do and go the distance at any time. That type of run game, that excitement is going to open up the pass game for guys outside like Garrett Wilson. So I think Jet fans should be excited about what's going on this year.
How do you kind of divvy up the allotment of carries between someone like Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, and Isaiah Davis, and others?
Well, I think it's just week-to-week game plan and what you're trying to establish against your opponent. It could be one of the things where Breece is getting 15 touches, maybe 7 carries, 8 catches. Whatever it is, I think you can find ways to get these guys the ball because, like I said, they're going to bring different dynamics to the game.
What do you like best about Breece's game? Also, where do you want to see him maybe improve here in year 4?
I love Breece's game. I love the fact that he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a bigger guy. He's the type of guy that, he can go around you, and then Braylon is going to come in and bruise you. But with Breece, man, I just love to see the offensive line get him to the second level.
Yeah.
I love to see the guy that he can break tackles at the second level, get to the third level, and go the distance.
Now, you have that three-headed monster with those running backs, but then there's a fourth element when you add Justin Fields and his mobility to the mix. As a back, how does that kind of change the dynamic and almost enhance the entire offense?
Honestly, it allows a lot of cutbacks on run games because the defensive end has to account for that quarterback that can run. And so it makes it a nightmare for defensive coordinators to plan for a guy that can run and pass. So with Justin Fields, who can pull the ball and run, kind of holds that backside defensive end for a lot of cutbacks for the running back. What's
the key to a successful RPO game?
The key is just understanding your keys and getting the ball out, being consistent with your reads. Obviously the run game is going to allow you to create the RPOs.
Fields, what does he have to be looking at in terms of the end when he's got that ball in the gun and maybe he's got Breece behind him?
Just how far he's crashing down. If it's any gray area, you want to pull the ball. You want to pull it and extend plays with his legs. He's another guy that can go the distance as well. Yeah. So now you're accounting for, like you said, 4 guys now that can be explosive and create extra possessions.
Do you feel like that depth at the running back position is sometimes underappreciated because usually it's one main guy, right? And then you'll sometimes have a mobile quarterback, sometimes not. But having 3 guys that can all do different things and a quarterback, is that a little underappreciated in the NFL, you think?
I think it is. I think some of the most successful teams have that committee. They have guys that are completely opposite run styles. When you get guys that are the same run style, then that's when you run into the dilemma. And when you got guys that bring different dynamics, you can get creative as an offensive coordinator in your game planning.
This is the only place you can see the live action here. Jets Training Camp Live, presented by Honda. A couple days ago, Fields goes down and social media goes crazy. How did you take all that in? Because we just saw Fields out here on the practice field just a moment ago, and he's moving around quite well, so we'll have to see when he's going to be participating in team drills again, but this is a day-to-day thing now.
Yeah, injuries happen in training camp. It's not just the New York Jets. It's all the 31 other teams that deal with injuries. I was kind of concerned about how serious it was when I read about it being him being carted off. But with it being a toe injury, you'll get him back in a few weeks, being ready to go. I think he's a seasoned vet where the repetitions doesn't matter. The next guy up, this is the next guy up league, and you got to have that mentality. And I think that's a mentality that Aaron Glenn's trying to establish here in his organization.
Were you ever injured early in a training camp? And isn't it, just kind of stating the obvious, it's always better to be injured early versus later in training camp. Yeah,
injuries happen. You get nicks and bruises, and then you get the serious injuries where you're missing time. Sometimes you do get discouraged. But like I said, it's best to get injured early on, have some time to get back, kind of get accustomed to banging around in training camp before you get on a regular season.
Do you like this marriage for the player himself as we watch Fields? Meaning, okay, this is his third team in 3 years, fourth offensive coordinator in 5 years, but the Jets from the get-go in free agency said, we're targeting you. You're coming in here. You're our guy. You're QB1. So it kind of gives him a rebirth, and he's only 26 years old.
Well, I think that goes back to Aaron Glenn. He's a guy, a coach that played a long time, and you play a long time in this league, you build a different mentality. And then he went over into the lane of scouting, where he was evaluating talent, he was interviewing personalities, so he understood that we didn't have to go out and get the big-time name quarterback. We just needed a guy that can fit the system that we run, and a locker room guy that can help lead us to where we want to go.
Yeah, and speaking of Aaron Glenn, I kind of want to set the scene here for you. What are your expectations for not only his first year as a head coach, but just like the offense in general that he is trying to install and run?
I think he's trying to establish the run game. There's nothing like a team being able to run the football.
Yeah.
Time of possession, guys that can keep the defense off of the field, because he has a great scheme on the defensive side where he's going to be very aggressive. So you're going to need a team that can run the football on the other side to keep those guys fresh, to play aggressive like he wants to play. So, matching that run game with his defensive style is something I'm looking forward to.
You don't get enough credit for this when people talk about your career, but you were not just a dual threat. You were an awesome blocker from the running back spot. How do running backs go about being effective in that, especially young guys coming into the league?
I think the number one thing is you have to want to do it. It's not something that is the first thing that stands out when you're running in college, right? But it's something that allows you to play for a very long time at the next level. I had a great coach, Anthony Lynn, who is a great coach, been coaching for a few decades. He always told me, you want to be an extended version of the offensive line. I was sitting in offensive line meetings, understanding calls from the offensive line, understanding the blitzes, and I knew that was going to be an opportunity for me to get on the field and stay on the field.
How impactful do you think that this offensive line is going to be for not only the Jets' run game, but just the offense in general? 5 healthy players and young players heading into training camp.
Yeah, I think the Jets have done a great job of drafting young tackles right now. And like I said, those guys, I think, are going to be happy that they have a committee of backs behind them that are going to be fresh. There's nothing like tackling a fresh running back late in the third, fourth quarter for a defense where you have fresh backs because you've been running the committee.
Yeah, and I also consider the tight ends an extension of the offensive line. I've been really encouraged by Mason Taylor, what he's done early in camp. Yes, he's catching the football, and we knew he could do that, the most productive tight end in LSU history, but Aaron Glenn continues to harp on the fact that this kid is blocking well.
Yeah, and that also opens up the RPOs when you're able to line up and put a tight end down in a running formation. and fake for a run and then pass to a tight end that can catch it also. So that opens up different lanes from a scheme standpoint. Yeah.
Last couple here for you, Bilal, and then we'll let you get to practice. But what is, or who is someone maybe on your radar, maybe it's a back, maybe it's not, maybe it's someone on defense that you're kind of circling as someone to watch, keep your eye on, or maybe you're just interested in watching?
You know, I'm always interested in watching Michael Carter.
Yeah.
I like nickel backs. You know, to me, they're the small guys, but they're linebackers, and they're undersized linebackers. I love to see a scrappy nickel back, man. He can affect a game.
Man, I love what the Jets are doing at defensive back as well. Just the extensions for Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, of course, but they got some big corners on the outside with Sauce, and then Brandon Stevens has really stepped up his game, and you're seeing his physicality out there.
Well, and then also too, having those guys out there that can tackle.
Yeah.
Sometimes in game plans, you don't even account for cornerbacks, but when you have to account for a cornerback in the run game, it makes it a lot harder to run the football.
And you're not going to be able to play for Aaron Glenn unless you're physical.
Able to take,
yeah,
exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. All right. Well, Bilal, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll let you get to practice now, too. We could talk to you all day, too, just like Damian Woody, but we'll let you head out of here. Thank you so much. And Jets fans, make sure Jets game day is better together. Bring a group of 6 or more to MetLife Stadium and take advantage of preferred pricing, access to on-field experiences, and more. To book, visit nyjets.com/groups or call 973-5494-590. All right, EA, we're going to wrap up practice ourselves here. What is something, I know you kind of just touched on Mason Taylor. What is something that stood out to you in these first few practices of training camp?
Well, I just like the tone that Aaron Glenn has set. And yesterday was a lot of situational drills. We saw a lot of red zone work, and then there was a end-to-half situation late there in practice. And the other thing that we've seen out here has been referees. The Jets were the most penalized team in the league last year, and Aaron Glenn is all about discipline and also being prepared for every situation. So I'm always looking forward to what is today's practice script here as we enter day 4. And for the players, you're probably a little bit sore today after the first 3 days of practice, but tomorrow you got a day off where you're not out here on the practice field. So I want to see a spirited competition out there.
I think the fans in the stands will also help that as well. We're looking at Mason Taylor right now. He's been doing a tremendous job blocking, as per Coach Glenn said yesterday. You know what else I really liked that Coach Glenn said? He kind of reminded all of the reporters that it became a big hoopla about Justin Fields the other day when he was carted off the field. And understandably, you know, you never like to see a cart or the quarterback on a cart. But he said, I'm always taking those injuries seriously, but we don't need to make a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah, it's a great point. And he said he's going to be straightforward about injuries, too. He said, I'm going to tell you what the situation is. And in Fields' case, listen, he hurt his foot, so it makes sense for him not to be walking. So they put him on the cart, did the proper thing, got him the medical evaluation. He's had a dislocated toe. He avoided significant injury, and here he is out here a couple days later in a huddle with these guys, and he's moving around pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. He jogged to the fans in the stands yesterday before practice, and he looked perfectly normal to me. Okay, I know we've been favoring the offense a lot on this side of the ball. Let's go quickly to the other side of the ball. Who has stood out to you on defense?
Let's go to the safety position. How about Andre Cisco?
Yep.
He's a guy who came up with an interception in that end of half situation yesterday in practice. He also had an interception earlier. Might have been a pass interference, not on him, but on a deflected ball. But he's finding his spots, and he's a rangy guy.
Yep.
He's a big player, and they're going to count on him to not only be a leader back there in the secondary with his communication skills, but also hopefully take the ball away. For any elite defense, and I think this is what the Jets have been missing, is that you need more takeaways, and I like what I've seen out of Cisco, especially of late.
Yeah, and you know who else? I feel like it's not a new name, but always one that we like to bring up. Quincy Williams was flying around on the practice field yesterday.
Outstanding point. Listen, 56 and 44, they're everywhere. Quincy Williams and Jamie and Sherwood are just sideline to sideline, all speed, all explosion, all the time. And Quincy Williams, as far as those celebrations are concerned, he's got a different handshake with everybody on the team, it feels like.
I feel like that's almost more impressive because you're learning all these handshakes and you're learning everyone's position. It's incredible, his memory. Something I did like that Jamie and Sherwood said a couple days ago was he said he learns every single position on the field so that he can know where he's supposed to be, where his teammates are supposed to be, what the offense is going to do. So I think that's another aspect of these linebackers that sometimes gets a little lost in translation.
Yeah, you're right. And that's the Jets' last two MVPs when you're talking about Quincy and Sherwood. One of the things that might be flying a little bit under the radar is who's going to be that third linebacker for the Jets. Is it a guy like Jamin Davis? Is it a guy like Zaire Barnes? So you're going to see some competition out there when the Jets go to three linebacker looks. But as Bilal was just mentioning before, you love it when you're also in the nickel situation here with the Jets because that means Michael Carter's out there on the field.
Exactly. All right, we could talk all day about Jets football. You know us. But we're going to end it here. And I just want to say happy Back Together Saturday, everybody. It is finally feeling like football's officially back. We're getting games coming up soon with the Hall of Fame game, so I'm excited. I hope all of you at home are excited. Now, pads come on Monday at practice, so make sure you're checking out the Jets website and all of our social media to see the latest updates about the first padded practice. But we will be back with Jets Training Camp Live presented by Honda on Tuesday. We'll see you then.